The Galactic Council had always maintained that humans were crude, primitive creatures, barely worthy of acknowledgement. Their courtship rituals, according to the official xenobiology texts, were nothing more than barbaric displays of aggression and territorial marking. Ambassador Lyra from the Celestial Dominion had read these reports countless times, yet she found herself increasingly fascinated by the human delegation aboard the diplomatic station. Commander Jake Morrison had been assigned to the Joint Diplomatic mission for 3 months now, and Lyra had observed him with scientific curiosity that gradually transformed into something far more personal. His species' reputation for resilience and adaptability had proven accurate, but what surprised her most was his unexpected kindness toward the alien crew members. Lyra belonged to the Veilter, a species known for their ethereal beauty and telepathic abilities. Her people communicated romantic interest through complex mental harmonics and shared dream sequences. Physical touch was reserved for the most intimate of bonds, and even then, it was gentle and barely perceptible. The idea that humans engaged in such direct, physical courtship seemed both terrifying and thrilling. She had spent weeks studying human courtship behaviors through the station's database, cross-referencing anthropological studies with popular culture archives. The results were bewildering. Humans apparently engaged in activities called dates, where they consumed food together, shared personal stories, and sometimes engaged in recreational activities. Even more shocking was the concept of flirting, a practice that involved humor, playful teasing, and something called eye contact. The breaking point came when Lyra witnessed Jake defending a young Quillian engineer from harassment by a group of hegemony officials. The Quillians were among the most timid species in known space, their crystalline bodies fragile and their voices barely above whispers. When the hegemony representatives began making crude jokes about the engineer's appearance, Jake stepped forward without hesitation. "I think you gentlemen have somewhere else to be," Jake had said, his voice carrying a quiet authority that made even the imposing hegemony officials pause. His stance was relaxed, but Lyra could sense the coiled strength beneath his casual demeanor. The officials grumbled but moved along, leaving the grateful Quillian to thank Jake profusely. That moment sealed Lyra's fate. She had to understand. This human better had to experience whatever this courtship process entailed. Her research suggested that humans appreciated directness, so she decided to approach Jake using what she believed were traditional human methods. The opportunity presented itself during the station's weekly cultural exchange event. Jake was examining a display of Altarian crystal sculptures when Lyra approached, her heart racing in a way that was entirely foreign to her species. She had practiced her approach countless times, memorizing what the human databases called pickup lines and conversation starters. "Hello, Jake," she began, her voice unusually breathless. "I have been observing your species' courtship behaviors, and I find them fascinating." Jake turned, his expression shifting from casual interest to surprised confusion. "Courtship behaviors? I'm sorry, what?" Lyra felt her confidence wavering, but pressed on. According to her research, humans appreciated honesty and directness. "I wish to engage in what your people call dating with you. I have studied your customs extensively." The human's expression grew more perplexed, but not unkind. "Lyra, I'm flattered, but I think there might be some cultural misunderstanding." Here, determined to prove her knowledge of human customs, Lyra stepped closer. Her research indicated that humans often engaged in something called casual contact during courtship, brief touches of the hand, shoulder, or arm. With great determination, she reached out and placed her hand on Jake's arm. The effect was immediate and devastating. Lyra's species had evolved with extremely sensitive nervous systems, and direct contact with humans proved overwhelming. Jake's emotional state, surprise, confusion, and underlying warmth crashed into her consciousness like a tidal wave. The sheer intensity of human emotion, unfiltered and raw, was unlike anything her people experienced. Her vision blurred as Jake's memories flashed through her mind. His childhood on Earth, his training in the academy, his genuine concern for all the alien species he worked with. The depth of his compassion was staggering, far exceeding anything the Galactic Council's reports had suggested possible for his species. But it was too much. Lyra's consciousness couldn't process the overwhelming flood of human experience. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed in a graceful heap, her ethereal form shimmering as she lost consciousness. Jake immediately knelt beside her, his concern evident. "Lyra, are you all right? Someone get medical." Dr. Finn, the station's chief medical officer, arrived within minutes. After a quick examination, he chuckled softly. "She's fine, Commander. Just overwhelmed. The Veilter are telepathic, and direct contact with humans can be ... intense for them." As Lyra gradually regained consciousness, she found Jake sitting beside her, his expression filled with genuine worry. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I thought I understood your courtship methods, but I was not prepared for the intensity of human emotion." Jake smiled gently. "Maybe we should start with something simpler. How about we just have coffee and talk? No touching required." Lyra managed a weak smile in return. "I would like that very much. But perhaps you could teach me about human customs. Properly? I fear my research was somewhat lacking." "I'd be happy to," Jake replied. "Though I have to say, your approach was certainly memorable." As they helped her to her feet, Lyra realized that human courtship was far more complex and beautiful than any database could capture. It wasn't about following procedures or mimicking behaviors. It was about genuine connection, understanding, and the courage to be vulnerable with another being. The Galactic Council's reports had been wrong about humanity. They weren't crude or primitive at all. They were magnificently, overwhelmingly alive, and Lyra found herself eager to learn more about this remarkable species, one careful conversation at a time.